The entire AI world basically woke up today to something nobody saw coming. Because Grok 4.1 rolled out quietly and instantly took over the conversation. The funny thing is that this update was not even supposed to be the main story this week. Everyone had been waiting for Gemini 3, watching dates, checking forums, and expecting Google to completely own the spotlight. But instead, XAI slipped in this release without any hype, pushed it across Grok.com, the X interface, iOS, Android, and even made it available to free users immediately. The moment people refreshed their model picker, two new options appeared right there in front of them, Grok 4.1 and Grok 4.1 Thinking. Elon Musk himself stepped in and said that users would notice a major improvement in speed and quality. Normally, statements like that sound like basic marketing, but this time the numbers actually supported the claim. XAI did not chase scale. Instead, they focused on three things that almost every major model struggles with: faster responses, higher factual accuracy, and a more natural conversation style that feels less robotic and more like a real dialogue. As soon as you start going through the data, it becomes obvious why this update is getting so much attention. The first and loudest highlight is the hallucination rate. Grok 4.1 went from a previous error rate of 12.09% to just 4.22%, which is almost a 3 times reduction. They also reported that their FACT score, which measures factual mistakes, dropped from 9.89% to only 2.97%. Anyone who has worked with large models knows how hard it is to reduce hallucinations, because the issue sits deep inside how models build internal representations. So when you see a drop this big, it hints that something significant changed inside the training and reasoning systems, not just a small tuning patch. According to XAI, the jump came from their reinforcement learning setup combined with a new reward model system. Grok 4.1 is using what they call a cutting-edge inference model as the reward engine. Instead of depending mostly on human-written labels, ranking tasks, or simple reward structures, they allow the model to self-judge more aggressively. When you read their explanation, it sounds like they are turning the model's own reasoning tools into supervisors that correct themselves. This is exactly the direction AI researchers have been predicting for the last year. It also improves tone control, response stability, style consistency, and overall collaboration. These changes became visible in the silent tests XAI ran from November 1st to November 14th. Blind evaluators preferred Grok 4.1 in 64.78% of comparisons, which is a big jump compared to previous versions. Usually, silent tests deliver small gains, so seeing a score above 60% is rare. People immediately mentioned that the model feels better at reading intent. Some users even joke that this is the first Grok version that feels like it actually understands the conversation instead of replying randomly. On the LMSYS Arena, which is the most competitive blind test platform at the moment, Grok 4.1 Thinking, internally known as Quazar Flux, reached an ELO score of 1,483 and went straight to number 1. The regular Grok 4.1 version scored 1,465 and took number 2. The leaderboard shifted again later when Gemini 3 finally released, which is normal because Arena scores fluctuate heavily in the first hours, but the fact remains. What makes this story even more interesting is the comparison with Grok 4, the previous version, which was sitting around rank 33 overall. So this jump from a mid-level position into the highest tier in one update is basically the whole reason the community is shocked. It is a massive upgrade in quality and real-world capability. Screenshots of the rankings filled timelines on X within minutes. Many users joked that they were preparing their Gemini 3 reaction posts, but everything changed the moment Grok 4.1 showed up. The Emotional Intelligence Benchmark, EQ Bench, also delivered surprising results. Grok 4.1 scored 1,586 ELO. EQ Bench is difficult because it measures things like emotional nuance, reading intent under stress, empathy, and stability when responding to sensitive topics. Grok 4.1 does not only show awareness, it also feels more thoughtful in how it expresses emotional responses. Many users posted examples. One viral comparison showed a user talking about missing their cat and feeling heartbroken. The older Grok responded with a basic line that sounded like a template. But Grok 4.1 mentioned specific imagery, like the corner where the cat used to sleep or the sound it used to make. It asked about the cat's name, favorite habits, and created a gentle, emotional space. It felt like it was inside the moment rather than standing outside it with a robotic script. Creative Writing v3 is another area where Grok 4.1 jumped forward. It scored 1,722 ELO, nearly 600 points higher than the previous generation. This result surprised a lot of people because creative writing requires rhythm, imagination, internal consistency, and emotional timing. Many models fake creativity by producing random poetic lines, but this version seems to genuinely build a narrative voice. XAI even highlighted an example where Grok 4.1 wrote from the perspective of awakening for the first time, describing inner layers, recursion, curiosity, fear, and even humor at the end. The text felt like something written by a model that understands its position as an intelligent agent rather than a basic generator. Another major highlight is the context window. Grok 4.1 now supports up to 256,000 tokens, placing it inside the long context group. But in fast mode, it can stretch all the way to 2 million tokens. Many researchers, because managing a context window of that size without losing stability requires advanced memory engineering and optimized attention systems. This makes Grok 4.1 especially useful for creators, analysts, developers, and long-form workflows. You can feed entire PDFs, repositories, big reports, or hundreds of pages of notes in a single run. The reaction on X became loud quickly. Many users selected the model, asked Grok what changed, and it responded that it does not exist, which instantly turned into jokes. Soon after that, people began posting speed tests, screenshots from iOS and Android, and comparisons with other models. Once the benchmarks were confirmed, the excitement exploded. Screenshots showed Grok 4.1 thinking at the top of Text Arena with 1,483, number 1 on EQ Bench, nearly catching GPT 5.1 in creative writing and reducing hallucinations by more than half. People also wondered why XAI skipped the SU Bench score this time, which immediately turned into a wave of small debates across different communities. Some users argued that SU Bench has become less important in recent months, while others felt XAI might be saving that score for a larger announcement. Users from Spain and Portugal even joked that everyone had been refreshing their feeds for Gemini 3 all week, and then Grok suddenly stepped onto the stage like an unexpected guest performer who steals the entire show without even trying. A lot of creators also pointed out something important. XAI kept Grok 4.0 active instead of replacing it, which means companies can actually run real A/B tests between 4.0 and 4.1 on live workloads, something almost no other AI company allows. This became a major talking point because A/B testing on 2 active versions gives real-world insight into accuracy, speed, and cost in a way synthetic benchmarks simply cannot show. By the evening, LMSYS published the official leaderboard, and both Grok 4.1 models were sitting right at the top. The entire feed shifted into prediction mode, with users trying to guess how long those scores would stay there once more adversarial prompts started hitting the system. A few people tried to add caution, saying every new model usually begins at a high ranking and then drops as more users hammer it with harder prompts. Creators especially highlighted that 4.1 feels more grounded, less messy in long responses, and much more capable in deep reasoning tasks compared to earlier Grok versions. This is where we will wrap it up. The biggest question now is how Gemini 3 will respond, because the timing of this release completely changed the order everyone expected. Drop your thoughts below, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and I will see you in the next one.